Cabbage Patch Kids, The Great Rescue. The Great Rescue, story by Mark Taylor, pictures by Jan Brett, published by Parker Brothers Incorporated. Rats and rattlesnakes, hailstones and thunderbolts, the most low-down, mean, rotten, and terrible dirty trick of all have been played on the Cabbage Patch Kids. Lavender McDade had kidnapped many of the kids' critters, fur and feathers, skin and all. One day, when no one was looking, the evil Lavender had crept into the woods where she often heard the Cabbage Patch Kids playing. With her were her evil companions, Cabbage Jack and Boll Weasel. Cleverly, they set out all kinds of tasty morsels. Then, as the critters were munching happily on the treats, the Weasel and Jackrabbit rushed in and captured some of them. They got the critters before Bobby Jean's pet owl, Dr. Teat, could hoot a warning. While Lavender and her gang scooped the captured pets into the old burlap bags she had brought for the occasion, Lavender chortled with glee. "I hate those Cabbage Patch Kids, and I'll do anything low down, mean, rotten, and terrible to get the best of them." In less than 5 minutes, Lavender and her gang sped off with a number of terrified critters in their clutches. When the kids heard the news, they were in tears. All the kids gathered in the castle of the Queen of the Bunny Bees. It was mighty and sad. "Which critters did Lavender get her wicked hands on?" the Queen of the Bunny Bees asked. The kids, the Queen, and the Bunny Bees held their breath, expecting to hear the worst. "I'll tell it out straight," said Colonel Casey, the wise old stork, who had made a list. I can't rightly pretend it's not bad." Lavender made off with Otis Lee's bulldog, Cap'n Tyler Boots, Chameleon Dragon, and Cousin Cannon Lee's polka dot pig Pepper. Everyone let out a sorrowful sigh. "But there's more," Colonel Casey went on. "You must save your sighs and tears till the end." Lavender also got Dawson Glen's snake, Old Sneakers, Rebecca Ruby's turtle, Miss Myrtle, and Bobby Jean's owl, Dr. T. Then there was Will Henry's frog, Popsicle, Rammy's hamster, Bun Bun, and Baby Dodd's baby possum, Little Bitty. 9 critters in all. They were shocked. No one could utter a word except for Baby Dodd. "Itty bitty," wailed Baby Dodd. "I want itty bitty." "We know you would have stopped Lavender if you could," the Queen said to Colonel Casey. "We'll stop her," growled Cousin Colonel Cannon Lee. "We'll get our critters back if it's our last earthly act." "Oh, Lavender said you could get them back," said Colonel Casey. "All you kids have to do is work for her and the gold mine. You know she needs lots of kids to work there. She's as greedy for gold as a possum is for grubs." "It's a trap," said Cousin Cannon Lee. "We could never trust her to set our critters free, even if we did work for her." "We could try," said gentle Rebecca Ruby. "I would do anything to get back Miss Myrtle." Otis Lee snorted. "She'll make us stay there for the rest of our lives, and keep our critters too." Everyone shuddered at the awful thought. Colonel Casey agreed with Otis Lee, and there was a lot of talk about what to do. The kids couldn't let Lavender keep their pets, but how could they get them back? "This is downright dismal," complained Bobby Jean. "No matter what we do, we lose to Lavender McDade." Will Henry stood up. "I have something to say." Everyone hushed. Will Henry didn't talk a lot, but when he did, it was worth listening. We've got to tend to business and get our critters back. We can't make a bargain with Lavender, and we all know it. Nor can we get the best of her unless we trick her worse than she tricked us. What'll we do? Asked Tyler Bow. I have a plan, said Will Henry. We'll do what Lavender demands. Go work in the gold mine. Just those of us who lost critters will go. She'll think she has us for good. But my plan will free us and our critters and put Lavender in her place for a long time. The kids gave a loud cheer. Everyone, even though they didn't yet know what Will Henry's plan was, they knew it would be a good one. Will Henry looked pleased. Now listen sharp. I'm sure this plan can work, if Otis Lee will agree to be our leader. I'll work it out with him. I promise we'll get our critters back. Baby Dodd laughed. Get Itty Bitty back. Get Itty Bitty home. Baby Dodd can't go with us, said Rammy. He's too little. I go, protested Baby Dodd. Yes, he goes, said Will Henry. That's part of my plan. The Queen of Bunnybees spoke. I would feel better if Baby Dodd stayed here where it's safe. But I trust you. I trust you, Will Henry, and I know that none of you will let harm come to Baby Dodd. Good, Will Henry replied. Now, we must hurry and gather up all the balloons we can find and lots of firecrackers, and we must ask the BBBs to help. We've got to sneak them into the gold mine. Everyone stared at Will Henry in pure amazement. Firecrackers are dangerous, said the Queen. We use them only for special occasions. No one but Colonel Casey is allowed to set them off. The plan can't work unless we have them, Will Henry said. Otis Lee and I know how to be careful with them. Very well, said the Queen, but she looked anxious. Take candy, commanded Baby Dodd. Itty Bitty Ike's candy. Okay, grinned Will Henry. Bring your big bag of caramels. Baby Dodd, they'll be useful. The kids knew better than to question Will Henry. They scurried around and gathered up dozens of balloons and firecrackers while Otis Lee consulted with BBBs. Will Henry had them put firecrackers and boxes full of hidden BBBs under the toys in Baby Dodd's toy box. Then they put Baby Dodd and his toys and his toy box back into the wagon, and they surrendered themselves to Lavender McDade. At the entrance to the mine, Lavender lined up the kids. I've got you at last, you nasty brats, she sneered. You'll never get away. Your pets will be fed as long as you work to my satisfaction. One problem from any of you, and it's goodbye and good riddance to those silly animals. Lavender, Cabbage Jack, and Bo Weasel grinned and laughed and kicked up their heels. What's in that box? Lavender suddenly shouted when she saw the big toy box in Baby Dodd's wagon. It has Baby Dodd's toys, said Rammy. He's too little to work. We brought his toys to keep him out of trouble. What kinds of toys? Asked Lavender. Look and see for yourself, said Otis Lee boldly. He glanced nervously at Will Henry, who just smiled. When Lavender flung open the box, the kids thought their plan would be discovered. But all she saw were toys, and Baby Dodd said to her, Box of boom booms, go bang bang. Lavender shrieked with laughter and slammed the box shut. You dumb kid, she laughed. Bang bang boom booms. Cabbage Jack and Bo Weasel set the kids to work at once. The gold mine was a dangerous place. There was so much dust in the air that the kids could hardly breathe or see their work. There were pools of dead water and big bottomless holes that the kids had to avoid. The critters were with them. However, even if each one was in a cage by itself, that made the kids feel somewhat better. Lavender thought the sight of the caged critters would make them work harder. Work harder they did. They chipped and pounded rock hour after hour, sorting through it piece by piece. They were bone tired and scared. Only Baby Dodd was happy because he had found little Itty Bitty. He spent his time talking to Little Bitty and feeding him caramels and saying, "Let's go home." After days of hard work, Tyler Bo asked Otis Lee when they would put Will Henry's plan to work. The kids were so tuckered out, he said, they hardly had the strength to stand up or fall down. "Tonight we escape," whispered Otis Lee. "Will Henry and I have managed to tell everyone what to expect. We'll start when I give the signal." "What's the signal?" Tyler Bo asked. "Baby Dodd is going to say, 'Time for a party.' Then we are all going to start blowing up balloons until the air is full of them. While we do that, Baby Dodd will be with Bo Weasel." Tyler Bo looked alarmed. He wondered what would stop Bo Weasel from hurting Baby Dodd and sending all of them back to work. "That's where Dawson Glen comes in," said Otis Lee. "He has been told by Will Henry what to do." Just then Bo Weasel stared at them. Otis Lee whispered, "Wait for the signal, then follow my lead." 1 hour went by, 2 hours, 3 hours. The kids could hardly stand the suspense. At last Will Henry whispered, "Come here, Baby Dodd." Baby Dodd toddled over to Will Henry, carrying his big bag of caramels. He listened to what was told. Then he turned around and yelled as hard as he could, "Et's party!" This startled Bo Weasel, who began to hiss. He bared his teeth and looked ready to bite. But Dawson Glen went up to him and said, "A party is just what we need. We always work twice as hard after a party. We even have some balloons if you'd like to see them." Bo Weasel was suspicious, but he was greedy, and he did want the kids to work harder to find gold. "Well, all right, I guess," he snarled, "but let me see one of those balloons." While Bo Weasel examined the balloon every which way, the kids began to blow up the rest. Soon as the mine was filled with balloons. "Now, wait 1 minute. I don't like," Cabbage Jack began to say. Baby Dodd toddled over to Cabbage Jack and Bo Weasel and offered them a big bag of caramel. "Candy good," said Baby Dodd. Cabbage Jack and Bo Weasel both loved sweet things, so they grabbed the bag and stuffed them into their mouths and began to chew. As soon as the jackrabbit and the weasel began to chew all those big gooey caramels, they got the surprise of their lives. Their jaws were just stuck tight. They couldn't open them, to holler or to bite. They glared at the kids, for they knew what they had done. "Quick, the firecrackers!" commanded Otis Lee. "And let out the BBs." The air was soon full of balloons and BBs. In the confusion, Otis Lee had the kids get the critters out of the cages. Bo Weasel and Cabbage Jack tried to stop them, but Otis Lee hollered, "Light the firecrackers!" BBs shot the balloons. The firecrackers began to go off, and the racket and sparks and smoke froze the weasel and jackrabbit with terror. Lavender McDade came running to the entrance of the mine just as the kids were running out with their pets and baby Dot. The BBBs began shooting Lavender and her companions as well as the balloons. It was an awesome sight. Firecrackers exploded, BBBs popped hundreds of balloons. Lavender screeched and rushed around in different directions. The kids ran as fast as they could away from the mine. When the weasel and the jackrabbit tried to chase them, the kids popped more balloons, and the BBBs pursued with BBs. High in the sky, Colonel Casey flew, with the big moon behind him, showing the kids the way home. At the gold mine, things were in shambles. Not only had Lavender lost her workers, but the commotion had made part of the mine collapse. She and her nasty companions were furious. As soon as Cabbage Jack and Bo Weasel could open their jaws, they sat down and screeched at each other. "It's your fault," growled Cabbage Jack. "No, it's yours," Bo Weasel snarled. "Enough," snapped Lavender. "This isn't getting us anywhere." And with that, the three villains trudged back to Lavender's house. Back in the patch, the kids were exhausted. They snuggled up with their critters and fell asleep while the moon and the stars kept watch through the peaceful night. The end.